You know we had to cap it off with Jesus. Edge life, you're too close to the ledge. We gon' push you forward a few steps ahead. It's that edge life. Oh, oh, gotta get it in your head, baby. Welcome to the edge life. You're too close to the ledge. We gon' push you forward a few steps ahead. It's that edge life. Oh, oh, gotta get it in your head. Welcome to the edge life.
Welcome to the Edge Live, Edge Live, Edge Live. Hey, what is going on, my friends, my family, all those people tuning in and checking us out? Today is Sunday Fun Day. It is another day for the Edge Live. What's going on, lady?
What's going on?
How are you doing? How are you doing?
How about you? How was your week this week?
The week was quick. I mean, it seemed like we just went super quick, and we're back here today, which is not necessarily a bad thing because I really do love, seeing our friends on live and talking to them via the podcast. So it was good. How about you? How was your week?
It was good. I think it did go by pretty fast.
Yeah.
We got everything accomplished in the weekend that we needed to,
Yeah.
The norm, grocery shopping and laundry and,
Grocery
all
shopping,
those fun
laundry,
things.
all of those fun things, right?
Yep.
Listen, there is nothing like being able to grocery and being able to launder. And here at the launder, did I say that right? I don't know. Anyway, here at the Edge household, where there's a whole bunch of us. That, when laundry is done, there's a whole lot going on. So it's always good to get that stuff done.
Yeah, but as the children get older, it gets, I don't know, the clothes are bigger, but they're more helpful. So
Yeah. Well, sometimes it depends on who it is, because I know one of our children, Mr. Kai Savant, who is not necessarily helpful all the time, but it's all good.
Well, he likes to wear a lot of different clothing. He's
Yes.
a fashionista, so
Yes, he is.
and that happens regularly throughout the day. So as he changes sports that he's watching, he may change his attire to match accordingly.
Which is
So
hilarious.
he's already wore 3 sweatshirts today.
And well, I know I saw him in Julio Jones because the Falcons were playing, so I did
Yes.
see him in that, and I think the Falcons won today. I'm not sure, but
They did. Yes,
okay,
they
okay,
did.
so good,
Yeah.
because I know he wanted to go outside and throw football and say he was Julio Jones, so I
Yes.
kind of figured that they won.
They did win.
They
beat
did
the
win.
Broncos
Okay,
today.
okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
so it's all good.
Yeah, it's all good except for who's gonna wash those sweatshirts.
Well, I'm sure they'll
Actually,
get washed
normally I just
eventually.
go ahead and wash them, but this time I'm not even gonna lie, y'all. I just checked them out and I did the sniff test. I did like a college student.
Oh my gosh!
And they all checked out.
Well, as long
Everything
as long as they pass the sniff test, I guess that is
I
okay.
guess
You all
it's
learning
acceptable.
way too much about us here on the Edge Live today.
Hey, we're transparent. What can we say?
Oh
That's just
my
how we
gosh.
roll.
Well, listen. Let me go ahead and say this. If this is your first time joining us on the Edge Life, we do say welcome.
Absolutely.
If you haven't checked us out, man, we talk about leadership, we talk about family, we talk about motivation, but at the end of the day, we talk about leadership and helping leaders lead well. And that means helping leaders lead well in family, in business, wherever you are a leader. So we talk about those kinds of things a lot, especially with our busy family. So if you have not checked out our YouTube page, which many of you are on right now, go ahead and check out the other videos on the YouTube page. And if you haven't subscribed to our podcast, the Edge Life 7 podcast, which is on all of your podcasting platforms, please make sure you go to those podcasting platforms, you click subscribe, and you check us out, because we got a lot of good stuff on there.
Absolutely. And we're about perfect for a good cardio workout, or if you go in and, you hit about 50 minutes of some
Yeah.
weights. It's
Yeah.
just perfect amount of time to
Yeah.
get it in.
Yeah.
Get it in. And you need to get it in. So that's first person leadership. Like, lead yourself.
Lead yourself. That's right.
That's right. Be self-disciplined.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you tell them what kind of leadership we talk about, because we got first person leadership, we got second person leadership, and we got third person leadership. Like what's that? Just for our viewers today, so we can kind of set them up just a little bit.
Well, second person is those people that are in that close-knit, tight circle
Yep.
with you. So
Yep.
that would be like your family.
Yep.
And then that third circle is, it gets a little bit bigger. And those are outside of your close sphere, or your inner circle, so to speak. And of course, you picked up what first person is. That's leading yourself, which, ultimately we're talking about character today.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you can't lead yourself, you can't be trusted with the ability to lead others.
Right. Right.
And people watch how you lead yourself.
They
I
do.
mean, I know, having been in leadership roles, management roles, hiring people, those sorts of things,
Mm-hmm.
when I watch people and how they operate, if there's just certain things that they don't do themselves, if they
Right.
aren't disciplined in certain ways in their life, it kind of tells you what kind of employee, they're going to be. If they can't be disciplined even enough to make sure they dress appropriately and accordingly for a job interview, man, y'all, I have seen some things in a job interview.
Yeah.
Mostly when I was at the sheriff's office, which is even more odd to
Yeah.
me because
Yeah.
I remember when I interviewed there, I wanted to make sure I was squared
Right.
away
Right.
because I was certain they wore uniforms every day, that they were
Exactly.
squared away. And so I don't know how, like, flip-flops and, low-cut shirts and baseball caps.
So hold on. Hold on. You literally had somebody come to the interview in flip-flops?
Shorts and flip-flops.
Wow. Was this like their first interview? Like, y'all,
First
this
ever?
this is new for me. I've never heard
I-
this, so
I-
I'm literally asking this like for real. Like is this their first interview or like?
No, not first ever in life, but it was their last one there.
Oh my
Just put
gosh.
it that way.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm kind of floored on that, but you're absolutely right because you can tell a lot about a person by the way they carry themselves,
Right.
by those core values that they hold true, that
Mhm.
they hold near and dear,
Yeah.
by the way they treat other people, right? You know, my dad, he was one who spoke a lot about character, especially to me. I would hear my dad say something like, don't allow your talent to take you where your character can't keep you.
Mhm.
Right. So he would say you can be extremely talented, but if you don't know how to treat people, you're not gonna go far in life. You can be extremely talented, but if you're not disciplined, you're not gonna go far. You can be extremely talented, but if you don't know how to put things together and put pieces together and actually use your mind, guess what? You're not going places. So talent can be there, but if character is not there to
That's what'll
hold you
keep you.
together,
Mhm.
you're not gonna stay very long. And it's amazing because we look at athletes, we look at business people, we look at a lot of people who have been put in prominent positions,
Mhm.
especially in leadership roles. And just because somebody puts you in a leadership role or you have a leadership title doesn't necessarily mean that you're a leader, right?
Yeah.
There's something that has to sustain you, and people have to be willing to follow.
Yeah, just because you're biologically a dad doesn't mean you're a father.
Come on, somebody. Yeah, come on,
or
somebody.
a mother, even at
Right.
that. Even at that, I was having a conversation with a young lady that I was doing some personal training with, and she wants to go into the FBI.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And she's trying to pass this PT and that sort of thing. And I basically told her the same thing. All the years of coaching, and I've coached little bitties, but coaching people, even it happens at the workplace also. But my dad was a coach, and being an athlete, I would look at some of these athletes who just they just were athletes. They were super, super talented athletes. But like I told her, I said, as a coach, I would rather, or even a trainer, a sports performance trainer, or training someone for PT, I would rather have I'd rather have a person on my team with a big heart.
Yeah.
Than the most talent in the world, because I know, number one, they're going to always give their best effort.
Right.
Number two, they're going to understand and value team.
Right.
Because many times people who are overly talented or extremely talented begin to lose sight of the fact that they need others.
Right.
And so that within itself is definitely like a character flaw or fault that I see a lot of times, that we just lose a sense of the fact that we cannot operate in a silo, that we have to have other people around us to accomplish anything, even if we have our own personal goals, aspirations, and dreams that really don't involve a team or anybody else. You still have to have other people.
Right.
You weren't put on this planet alone, and there's a reason for that.
Right.
So.
It's funny. I remember, playing football. At one particular time we had a quarterback. The quarterback he was an amazing, amazing quarterback. I mean, he was really good. I mean, when you talk about talent, he had everything that you would need to play quarterback. I mean, all the tools, all the intangibles, and he could flat out get it done on a football field. But what happened was when he got there, he knew it. He knew that he had all the intangibles. So what would happen is that he would talk to people a different kind of way, right? He would say things to people like, you know what, get this done. He had this attitude and this aura where, everybody bowed down to him, and he was the most important person on the field. And I'll never forget, there were some people on the team who were a little older than him and a little wiser than him, and they taught him a lesson because one day at practice, I'll never forget, our scout team was really given this our offense the business at this point in time, and this quarterback, what he did was he got so frustrated with his offensive line, remember, who are older and a little bit wiser than him. He took the ball, he turned around, he threw it at the offensive lineman, and he said this. He said, "You all suck." And you understand how much that hurt, especially when these are people who were busting their backside.
That's his
when
protection.
they're
He probably
doing
shouldn't have
right,
done that.
they're doing everything that they can to protect him, literally, and he's gonna look at them and say, "You all suck." Well, long story short, that same person with all the talent in the world, we got into the game that week, and as we got into the game, that first series, it was first down and whatever, and he's trying to cheer everybody up, and he gave them the big old pep talk. "Come on, guys, we're going to do this and we're going to do that." And we went out there on first down, he got sacked. We went out there on second down, he got sacked. We went out there on third down, and he got sacked. And literally, he got a big old dirt clod in his helmet, and the helmet was turned sideways the whole 9 yards. And, I mean, it was like third in an eternity, right? So we wound up punting the ball. But when we got on the sideline, he was looking around trying to pump everybody up, and he went over to the one guy specifically, and the guy looked at him and he said, with a smile on his face, he says, "Do we still suck?" And the look on that guy's face was like, "Oh my gosh, this is what this is about."
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But what he was really being taught a lesson about his character. He was really being taught a lesson about how you got to be a team player. He was really being taught a lesson about how there are no big eyes and little U's, especially in any team environment and any team sport. And the way I correlate that, it doesn't matter if it's a football game. It doesn't matter if it's any sports event. It doesn't matter if it's a family. There are no big eyes. There are no little U's. Everybody has a place and a role to play. You just have to play your role and play your position. And if you do that, the team as a whole could win. We went back out there, and they got it together, and they never had any other problems. But we did wind up winning the game also. Now, the bigger thing here, though, is that guy learned a lesson about his character. He learned a lesson about how you treat people. And I'm telling you, the way that you treat people, man, it's indicative as it relates to the amount of success that you will have in life.
Oh, absolutely. And so there's so many things, there's so many components that kind of make up your character. There's this whole idea of nature and nurture.
Yep.
Some
Yep.
things that are just you're born innately with,
Mm-hmm.
and other things that are nurtured inside of you. But I think even beyond that, and even in that story, we have to understand that character is a choice.
Right.
And you have to wake up every day and choose.
Mm-hmm.
Good character is good choosing consistently over time.
That's good. That's
to
good.
choose what's right consistently over time, and that allows you to be a good leader, a person that people will trust and follow, because you get up every day and you make a decision to choose good.
That's good.
And even when you fail, you make a decision.
Yeah.
To say, you know what, I didn't choose the best option.
Right.
And you're open and humble to say, I made the wrong choice.
Right.
And that makes you followable.
Yeah.
That makes you a leader to be able, when you're able to do that.
See, and I love what you said, because this thing about choice, like you're choosing to lead, you're choosing to have good character, you're making a choice every single day to say, you know what, I'm going to do the best that I can. Those are the types of people I know personally that I like to follow. Mm-hmm. As I would say, and I'll give another one of the analogies that my dad uses, those are the people that I want to go to the foxhole with. You know what I mean? Those are the people that I want to go to battle with, those people like that. There's something about them that draws you. You know, when you can meet somebody with good character. And let me ask you this, and just to kind of pivot just a little bit. Have you ever met somebody with bad character?
Oh, most definitely.
I mean, what was that
Oh,
experience like when you met somebody with bad character?
I mean,
Like,
when you meet someone who has bad character, you just don't even want to be around that person.
mm,
You know, they're not dependable, and so you never know. You never know what to expect from
right.
them. You don't really know what's coming next, but you're
Mm-hmm.
pretty sure that it's not going to be great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, there's just so many inconsistencies
Mm-hmm.
with people that have bad character, or maybe they're consistently just not nice.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, just not kind people. You know, what led to even this conversation today was is really a quote that I would always share when I would hire people at the sheriff's office. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I had the privileged opportunity of being a state certified instructor for law enforcement and
Mm-hmm.
being able to train law enforcement here locally. Um, at the sheriff's office where I worked. And one of the things that I would always tell our new recruits, we would get jail officers in usually first, is that your character will carry you or bear you.
Mm.
And when you work in law enforcement, I mean, people aren't, especially it's the sheriff's office. You know,
Right.
the primary responsibility of the sheriff's office is to serve warrants. You know what a warrant means? More than likely, you're going to jail.
Yeah.
People don't really, I mean, you know, they don't get super excited when you show up on the scene. So, you know, yeah, we come and when we're called out to emergencies and things of that nature, but usually when you see the sheriff, especially in the county that we particularly that we live in,
Mm-hmm.
primary responsibility is not full services to serve warrants. And
Mm-hmm.
so you know, it's not like everybody's going to be, oh, hey, I'm so happy the sheriff's office
Yeah.
is
The sheriff's.
here.
Yeah.
You know, and many people have already had an experience maybe with law enforcement that
Mm-hmm.
hasn't been so positive.
Right.
And so knowing that you aren't, they're not your biggest fan at the time means that you're probably going to encounter some negativity.
Yeah.
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 So when a grape is crushed, whatever is in it
We'll come out of it.
will come out of it.
Yep.
And
That's good.
so, you know, over time, you know, if you've worked in the jail setting, you get called all kind. Oh my gosh, I could tell y'all some stories. You get called all kinds of names.
Mm-hmm.
You have people that threaten to do certain things to you, to your family,
Yep.
or they literally do try to do those things to you. I
Yep.
mean, so all of that, there's a lot of conflict,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and conflict is one of those things that develops character. And that's where that quote came from.
Yeah.
Is I realized, and I wanted to let these folks know that, you know, your character will either carry you into a place of success, and it
Come on.
doesn't matter if it's in law enforcement, it's in business, it's
Right.
in your home, it's in your school, or it literally will bury you. Like we were talking about people with bad character.
Yeah.
They're left alone. No one wants to be around them.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one wants to interact with them. No one wants to hear it. You know, in fact, a lot of times people are fearful
Mm-hmm.
because there's
Mm-hmm.
so many inconsistencies with people who have bad character that there's a fearfulness that
Wow.
kind of rises up inside of you. And so it's just really important for us to realize the breadth and depth of having good character, how
Mm-hmm.
important it truly is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love what you're saying because you know at the end of the day, when we're talking about this character, I mean you said it'll carry you into places of success, or it'll bury you. And the
Stuck.
right the crazy thing about people with bad character is many times it gets to the point to where people don't even want to deal with them.
Yeah.
You know, and it's almost like, you know, they see it, they may have even addressed it, but if you're not open to receive what other people are sharing with you, that becomes problematic.
Yeah.
You know, you're sitting there, you're like, why can you not see this? And people are just like, I don't even want to deal with that no more. I'm literally done dealing with that. So because of that, I'm gonna lead you to your whatever you want, however you want to do it, whatever you. I'm gonna leave you to that.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned this a second ago. It winds up becoming a very lonely place.
Yeah.
And anytime you're in isolation, that is never a good thing.
It's never a good thing. You're turned over to your own thoughts, which can sometimes be out of order and
Yep.
lead you astray.
Yep.
And we need each other, you
Yeah.
know. I know in the past I've had employees who were really good at their job,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
they had terrible character.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it wasn't so much that they weren't trustworthy; they were just not nice.
Mm.
They weren't
Wow.
kind,
Yeah.
and it made it really, really difficult to deal with that person because again, you want to separate yourself from
Mm-hmm.
the conflict.
Mm.
But as the manager, you're responsible for dealing with it, and so that's an important lesson too. When you see people who are under your leadership that just don't have good character, but maybe they're very talented,
Right. Right.
like the quarterback.
Right. Right.
You have to have those teachable moments. You have to force those, and you have to press beyond the conflict that is there in that situation and begin to help them and cultivate because
Mm-hmm.
it is a choice,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and it can be developed. Good character can be developed and or nurtured into the right place
I love what you're
with some
saying.
effort.
So let's talk just a little bit about things that we can do really to nurture that good character. Like what does that look like? You know, if we're in a place, and let's just be honest. I mean, maybe we've all been in places where our character hasn't quite been where it should be, right? What are some things that people can do to to begin cultivating that character? Or if you're in a leadership position right now and you have somebody that deep down inside, you're like, I know they really have it, but they just need, they're a little rough around the edges. Let me help them out. What are some things that we could do?
So first of all, leadership is character in action.
That's good.
So
Somebody needs to write that one down.
So it's not mine, but you can write it down. It's tweetable. But I found that so very powerful. There's action that's required, and so one of my favorite leadership gurus is John Maxwell.
Yep.
And he talks about the whole idea of character development.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that's really important is just leading first person, and in order to lead yourself, you have to really understand yourself.
Yeah.
And so understanding where your values are. Sometimes people have bad character because they were nurtured that certain things were okay. We've all been around people who grew up differently.
Yeah.
And it maybe is not something like, stealing or, something so horrible, but there are things that other families think are acceptable that don't match our values.
Right.
So you have to know where your values are and where your lines are, and to have those, have some scruples about you.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the things that you value? Begin to really evaluate that, and then ask yourself, am I really living according to what I value?
Wow.
Because you can value things, but just kind of lose sight and not really live according to it. So if I say, I value people.
Right.
But I'm just nasty and crass like all the time. How is that really showing other people that you value them? How is that holding true to what you believe?
That's real good.
It isn't.
Yeah.
One of the other things is to have a sense of like moral courage. Have the courage to face the things that you're afraid of. Sometimes people act out of, they seem to have bad character because they're motivated by fear.
Wow. That's good. Yeah.
So fear will make you do a lot of things that you shouldn't do. Fear makes you lie. Right? Think about when you were a kid.
Yeah.
I think back to a story when I snuck out of the house.
Girl, you snuck out the house?
Way more than once.
Ooh, I'm going to tell your mama.
Oh, she already knows.
I'm going to tell your mama.
I tell on myself anyways. And so fear will make you like lie.
Yeah.
Fear will make you not trustworthy because you're afraid you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, that's
and
good.
And so, you have to have a sense of moral courage and really begin to like dig a little bit deeper and face your fears. Face some of the dangers that you expect, and standing for what is right.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're afraid to stand up for what we believe.
Yeah. I think that's a good one. That's a real good one. And it takes me back to when I was teaching. For those of you who don't know, I taught 9th and 10th grade English. And one of the things that I realized in teaching was I just wanted to teach and coach. I wanted to be a positive influence for the children or the kids, even though they were just a couple years younger than me, right? But that's what I wanted. But what I realized was that there is a business of teaching. Like, nobody really wants to talk about, but there's literally a business of teaching. And I know people are like, well, Philip, what do you mean? What do you mean a business of teaching? Well, there are certain there's certain funding that comes with certain things, right?
Well,
So that you got to get certain grades, which produces certain fundings, and there's certain things that you have to do. And I remember, my second year teaching, the place that I was teaching, they came out with a standardized test,
mm,
and with the standardized test, we had to pass the test at a certain percentage in our county, and if we didn't, then you didn't get the funding. So what we were being instructed to do was
well,
to help our students to do the things that they needed to do to pass the test. Which, when we look at that, we would say, "Oh, that's a good thing. You want your students to be able to pass, and you do want your students to be able to pass." The problem was the buildup of the test contradicted some of the aptitude tests, i.e., SAT, ACT.
yes.
So now I have children who are, many of them, in deprived circumstances where they're literally trying to, quote unquote, get out.
Yeah.
But if I don't teach them the things that they need to pass the SAT and SAT, which are
ACT.
what I say,
SAT and SAT.
Yeah,
Yeah,
y'all know what I'm
twice.
talking about, right?
You might have to take it twice.
Right. So thinking about that, just scholastically, I know what they need, but I'm being told that no, you can't teach that, or no, you can't teach that. And the crazy thing, I'll never forget. I had to ask myself, do you want to be morally right, or do you want to be politically correct? And
Yeah,
literally,
that's such a
you see what I'm
compromise.
saying? It was a complex place, and I'm sitting there like, but why do I have to make that choice? That's not right. Ultimately, I went with what I felt was right. You know what I mean? And when I say right, I mean morally right, because I wanted to be able to sleep at night, and I wanted the children to be able to get to the places that they needed to get to. Now, I wound up figuring out a way to compromise, but there are a lot of people who didn't figure that out, because in their mind, they're like, we're just gonna follow the status quo, and whatever needs to happen, that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it still goes back to character and being able to stand on what you believe.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
And
Not what you say.
compromising
Right.
that, right?
Exactly.
Because when you are in a crisis situation, you will be pressed.
Yeah.
And when you are facing conflict or you're facing
Yeah.
pressures, that's when you really know where your character is at. That's when
Mm-hmm.
you can really find out, like I said, when the grape is crushed.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can really find out what's on the inside of you.
Yeah.
I think all of us have had those moments, and those are really defining moments. And even if you fail in that moment, it can be a very empowering moment. It
Mm-hmm.
can be, a fresh start. It can be transformative in
Mm-hmm.
nature when you have this realization that, oh, I, I, f- I'm going to compromise my values, my morals,
Wow.
because I want to perform.
Wow.
I mean, some of us have been in situations where
Wow.
we knew a boss was doing something they shouldn't have been doing.
Or saying something they shouldn't have been saying.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And, did you say something about it?
Mm-hmm.
Did you evoke your whistleblowers right? Or did
Mm-hmm.
you just, turn a blind eye and keep letting it go? I don't want to be that guy,
Yep. Yep. I don't want to rock the boat.
Right. Or do you have pressures to try to fit in at work?
Mm-hmm.
As a Christian, I when I started in law enforcement, I was really like surprised, kind of shocked. Like it was a culture shock for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
I had been protected. I had been working nonprofits. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, not that there was anything bad about it. It was just different. And some of the conversations and things didn't really match my morals.
Right.
But very quickly, because I held to my standards,
Mm-hmm.
people, they would kid with me, but they really did respect.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't cuss at inmates.
Right.
I'll never forget one time I yelled across, I was like, sit your butts down. And, all the other officers, they're just laughing at me. I'm like, hey, they sat down, I guess
It worked.
It worked.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, my dad would say any port in a storm. So,
Right.
that was just, it wasn't natural
Right.
to me. And I couldn't be your character is who you are.
Right.
I couldn't be counter character.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because in order not to be countercultural.
That's good.
You can't be counter character just to be countercultural.
Come on, somebody. That's good.
You have to be who you are and who you were created to be.
Yeah. And there's probably somebody right now who is in that situation. you know, to where they're literally having to perform. They're
Yeah.
having to be somebody that they're not just to fit in. They're having to be somebody that they're not just to get by. They're having to be someone that they're not just to maintain in the household, right? Oh
Mm,
yeah, yeah, you heard
come
that.
on,
That
somebody.
they're literally having to be somebody. They're putting that mask on just to survive every single day. And what we're saying today is we can't continue to do that. We
No.
can't continue to put that negative character mask on. We can't continue to just fit in for fitting in sake, especially when we know it's wrong. And I don't know about you, but there's something on the inside of me that when I'm doing something that's out of character, it alerts me. You
Yeah.
know, it's literally like the check engine light of your car. It comes on the inside of me, and it's like, you know, that was wrong. You
Hmm.
know, you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have
Shouldn't
said
have gone
that.
along
You
with
shouldn't.
it,
Right.
or you should have said something.
Exactly.
You, whatever the case may
Exactly.
be.
And it literally, it's a self check because it makes me look in the mirror. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? It really does. It makes me stop and say, oh my gosh, I really went outside of myself, because that right there, that was not a reflection of who I really am.
Yeah, and when you recognize that you have compromised your character and you've not had proper first person leadership,
Yeah.
one of the things that's really good to do is just go and evaluate, like go to second person. You know,
Mm-hmm.
what would people in my inner circle say
Mm-hmm.
about that particular behavior?
Mm-hmm.
Would
Mm-hmm.
they say that that's counter my character, that's not like me?
Mm-hmm.
What would people in the further circle, what would they say?
Right.
You know, whenever you do something wrong, you always say, what will my mama say? What
Right.
will my mama say? But
Right.
it's a great litmus test, you know, to kind of keep you on the right track for where you need to be with your character. And you know, it again, because it is a choice, it requires that you check it all the time.
Right.
You know, it's something that you have to always, your character is something that you always need to manage. You must always manage your character and choose to choose the right thing each
I
and
love
every
that.
day.
I love that. And like we were saying earlier, these things happen every single day, all the time. They're happening. And here's the other piece that we need to recognize: people are watching.
Oh yeah.
You know, whether we know it or not. Like when you were in the jails, people were watching you,
Mhm.
and they wanted to say her character is not who she portrays. That's really not her right there. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like they were waiting for the opportunity to say, mm-mm, that's not them.
Mhm.
And when they could do that, it's almost like they could dismantle you and tear you down. But the truth of the matter is, if you show up fully and authentically you can carry your character like a badge, if you will.
Yeah.
You can carry that, and you don't have to fake it, because it's real and it's authentic and it's true. You know, one of the things, and I put this in the comments, we talked about first person leadership, which is
Mhm.
about self-awareness, right?
Yep.
Understanding how you are showing up. If you don't know how you're showing up, if you don't know that's a problem. And that's a problem as we talk about character. You have to become self-aware and understand what you look like and how you should show up, right?
Yeah. And
But
that was the point that I was
yeah,
making with ask those people in your inner circle.
absolutely.
Ask the people a little bit further out. You know,
Yeah.
what do I look like? And don't be afraid to do that because
Mm-hmm.
that's going to make you better over time. The other thing that it does is it helps people to believe that you or to know that you have good character
Wow.
because you care about how you show up.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
care about how you treat
That's
others.
good.
And so that makes you more trustworthy and people are
Mm,
more able to follow you because you invite them into a vulnerable space.
that's
Ho-
good.
Most of us know a person who's not a good leader who has
Mm-hmm.
bad character.
Mm-hmm.
Would that person, ask yourself, would that person actually ask you how they were showing up?
Mm.
Ever had a bad leader you think you would have that conversation with?
No, probably not.
No, I don't think they would
Probably not.
probably even care. They don't even care. They're like, whatever. I don't care what you think. I'm the boss.
Right.
I'm the
Right.
manager. I'm the
Right.
supervisor, you know.
Right. And that's exactly what they say. It doesn't matter. It's my show. And if you don't like it, you can get out of here. You
That's
can leave.
right.
Right.
Right. You can leave. You know where the door is. Same way you came in, same way you can go out. So, you know, yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say this. You know, it's there. There's so much to talk about when we
Yeah.
talk about character. You know, the thing that we would say to you all today is number one: start becoming aware of self. Start understanding who you really are. If you're unsure and you don't know who you really are, we'll put a link inside the description here today, and we'll give you a way to really begin understanding yourself and taking that self-assessment and that deep look to help you understand who you really are, right? Not only that, will help you to begin understanding emotional intelligence and how you show up, right? And I really believe if we have that self-awareness and we have the emotional intelligence, that in and of itself is the core for positive leadership, no matter where you go.
Absolutely. The other thing that I just want to leave everybody with as we get close to closing out. So I found this really great study. It's called Character Counts. And back in the 90s, there was a group of researchers that got out there and they said, we want to know if there are some values that like transcend ethnicities and races and culture and religion, etc. And they came up with 6 pillars that actually transcend that. And I think these are really good. So when you're evaluating your character, ask yourself if these 6 things are present in the way you show up.
Okay.
And it's an acronym that's really easy to remember. It's terrific, actually without the vowels.
TE.
It's without the vowels.
Okay.
So the T stands for trustworthiness.
Okay.
So trustworthiness. Then the next one is R, respect. Man, to me, that is so big for me. I want people to feel respected, and I like to feel respect too. I want to feel heard, validated, etc. The next one is responsibility. So another R, responsibility. Do you show a sense of responsibility? Do things matter to you? Do you leave things left undone and it doesn't bother you? Not me. I can't even go to bed if something's out of place. That might be a problem, y'all. That might be a character flaw.
That may be a personal problem right there. Ding, 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 ding.
OCD. The F is for fairness. Ooh, this is a big one too. Are you fair? Do you treat people equally? Or do you allow your implicit bias to begin to activate and you treat people differently because of whatever reason? C, caring. Are you caring? You're compassionate for other people. Do people matter to you? And then the last one is a C also. Do you have a sense of citizenship? And that's so valuable, whether you're talking about your neighborhood, your community, your city, your country, your state. But if you're just talking about the citizenship of your company, your school, are you a good citizen? Do you treat other people the right way?
Right.
Do you try to lead? Do you serve? A lot of citizenship has to do with realizing that you have a role to play, and trying to show up every day and play that role. So those were the 6 things that they found that regardless of differences,
that's really good.
Socioeconomic differences, religious differences, these were the 6 common things. So if you could start there and really begin to examine your own character, and if you are terrific, you'll be a person of good character and lead well at home. In your business, and in the world around you.
I love it. Respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship. And that SDK is on that citizenship. And if y'all don't know what SDK is, that stands for spelling don't count. So,
and don't forget trustworthy, the first one.
Did I put trustworthy on there?
I think you got it.
Yeah, trustworthy, even though that's SDK also. That's like, I'm trying to type.
The English major that can't spell.
I'm trying to type
but you
down
on
here.
The podcast don't know you. Philip is a perfect speller to you. So
Thank you, spell check, and the little lines underneath stuff. But listen, I will say that character is going to be huge, no matter where you are, especially if you're in the United States. Character is huge. We're going into a time. We've been in a time, but we're going even further and deeper into a time where we all need each other. And we all have to be able to stand and support each other and trust each other and stand with each other. We can do so much more together than we can apart and separated. And I truly believe that the cornerstone and the beginning of that stems from our character and how we show up. So I'm challenging you all right now. Check your character and check how you're showing up. Because you, my friend, you can make a difference in the lives of the people that you come around and that you serve every single day. So with that being said, I will just say, make sure that you subscribe to the podcast. Make sure you like, share, and send this out to all your friends. You never know who might need something
I think
like
even
this.
young people.
And young people, that's right.
Young people could
and
watch
young people.
this. Yes.
Because at the end of the day, we need a bunch of people who got good, strong character. Because
sometimes the children will lead us.
The children, they've been leading us for a long time, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So next Sunday, we'll be back here.
That's right.
We'll be back on YouTube. So make sure you check us out on YouTube. Make sure you check us out on the podcast where all podcasts
are heard.
Yeah, that right there. With
everywhere podcasts are heard.
Come on. You got it. God bless you all. Y'all have an awesome time. Go lead well so that you can live well. Edge Life Podcast. Y'all take care. Peace.
You know we had to cap it off with Jesus. Edge life, you're too close to the ledge. We gon' push you forward a few steps ahead. It's that edge life. Oh, gotta get it in your head, baby. Welcome to the edge life. You're too close to the ledge. We gon' push you forward a few steps ahead. It's that edge life. Oh.